Good evening, folks. B. Hawkins here, and I want to address a topic that it seems like we've been talking about and hearing about for over 3 years now, which is people don't want to work. So let's talk a little bit about recruiting and retaining employees. Now, as someone who was a regional and led a team of about 24, I can tell you a little bit about leadership. So if you're a leader who's listening to this, these tips actually work. And if you're an employee that's listening to this and you've had to deal with some of the things I'm going to talk about, my heart goes out to you because I have seen people in that position with terrible leadership. Bottom line is, it's not that people don't want to work. People want to be made to feel like they mean something, like they want to feel like they're important, like they have a voice. And I think we've lost that. You know, you assume because someone works for you or works for a company that you are a leader in, that because they collect a paycheck or a salary, that all of a sudden you own them. You don't. People are human. People need to be treated like they're human. Again, they want to feel needed. They want to feel important. So every employer, I believe, wants a quality team. They want quality team members with a great work ethic who show up, who are engaged, and they're invested in the company that they go to work for. Bottom line is, most of the time, you're not going to get all that, but it does happen because it happened for me. And so I found some of my best employees, and I was in sales in healthcare, in lower level positions. Some of the best salespeople that I ever recruited were nurse aides. Some were admissions coordinators that were recruited into account executive roles. And guess what? They did a phenomenal job because they knew how to treat people. Someone's always watching you, even when you think they're not. So keep that in mind. If you're in a lower level position and maybe you're tired of being in it, people are watching you. Keep doing what you're doing. And that doesn't mean let them run over you and give you more work. And employers, that's not what that means. That means watch the employees who are invested. They're going to make your best team members, I promise you. So making them feel important. Sometimes something as simple as just listening to them. They just want to be heard. And you may say, I don't have time for that. Make time. Because they want to be heard. And I can tell you, leading a team of 24, my phone was never silent. It wasn't because they were needy. It's because I was a safe space for them. They knew they could come to me and they could open up to me without any type of recourse or retaliation. They knew they could vent to me because guess what? We all have a bad day and we need someone to listen who understands. So they did come to me, and sometimes it was, hey, I have a question. I really need your help. And then there were times they'd call me and say, hey, I have an idea. Great, let's talk about it. Because I needed them to feel like they were important, but I didn't just tell them to talk about it. I heard them. And so that's something else that leaders need to keep in mind. They want to be heard. Not just, oh yeah, they told me, and then you forget about it. They want to be heard. And you may not have control over how much your team makes, because bottom line is, no one ever gets paid say hi, Missy. No one ever gets paid what they're worth. You may think some people make way too much, but that's perception. But you can control how you treat people, even if you can't control their paycheck. And sometimes they'll continue to work harder for you for the same amount of pay, and they'll do more work just because you treat them well. And they know that if they go somewhere else, they may lose that. So it still, then again, comes back to leadership, not about the paycheck. So you got to make them feel like they're part of the team. And I don't use the word family because I've worked for companies who say, welcome to the family. And guess what? They'll let you go tomorrow. Forget about you. Use the word team. Employees, careful how you receive the word family. You may say that you have a work family, but that could go a couple of different directions. So I always use the word team. You'll hear me use team in a lot of my videos. One of the things I taught my people was that people work with people that they like. They don't want you to be someone you're not. They want the authentic you. They want the you that you are off the clock, on the clock. Sometimes they do want to get personal. Some days in sales, your referral sources don't want to talk business. Sometimes they just want to talk to you because they need an ear, and that's okay. And you will have employers that will tell you, no, you need to be asking for the business. Guess what? You are, but you're not, because you're being authentic and you're building a relationship. The business will come. So you always want employees who are authentic, and employees be you. People want to know you. They want to get to know who you are. And that's okay. It's not crossing boundaries. It's building a relationship. The other thing that people have to remember, whether you're in sales or any other type of industry, is that everyone has a bad day, even in leadership. You're human. If you are human, you are going to have a bad day. You can't control that. So somehow this concept has vanished. And leaders think that you just punish people for having a bad day. Well, they need to leave that at the door. Sometimes you can't leave it at the door. Sometimes you do good just to put a foot through the door so that you can come to work and do the job you're being paid for. You have to learn to give grace as a leader. And there are employees, I hate to say this, who at times will abuse that. There's always going to be something wrong. And there's a percentage of those. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is more times than not, they're just having a bad day. You have to look at how much things have changed over the years. Back when my grandmother was young, you didn't hear a lot about single parents. Nowadays, moms and dads, you also have grandparents raising children, and they're still of work age. You also have a lot of people who are taking care of their aging loved ones. Being a caregiver is a full-time job on top of their full-time job. And any other thing that can go on in life, car accident, health issues, you name it, it's out there. So there are going to be times that whether you're a leader or you're an employee, you can't leave that at the door. You better be lucky that employee made it through the door. And I've seen so much of this in the healthcare world. An industry where you teach people to take care of people, yet they can't take care of their own employees that way or have that same type of compassion. And I'll give you an example. I worked for a company, and there was a gentleman, hard worker, and he was dealing with an aging father who had memory issues, all kinds of health conditions, in and out of the hospital, had a lot of personal issues. He was juggling his dad along with a full-time job and just life. If you've never seen a grown man tear up because they were overwhelmed, it is absolutely heart-wrenching. But what was even worse was to hear that supervisor disregard everything that was going on and basically tell him he needed to get back to work. People are human. People have issues. Things are going to happen. You as a leader are going to have issues. You're going to have bad days. You've got to learn to give grace. You want to retain your employees? You want to decrease retention? Start treating them like they're human and stop treating them like they're a disposable asset, because I've seen it done way too many times. You want employees to give a 2 weeks notice, but guess what? We don't give a 2 week notice before we terminate because it's company policy. But you expect a notice. Give the same respect that you expect back, and I guarantee you, your employees will either stick around a lot longer, or if you yourself leave the company, guess what? They're going to want to follow you. How do I know? Because I've had it happen to me. Moral of the story is show compassion. Listen to your team and don't treat them like a disposable asset that you can replace tomorrow, because especially with the way times are now, I guarantee you, you can't. And eventually you may, but you're going to go through multiple candidates before you find someone who fits the skill set for the position that you're hiring for, especially if you're in sales. And if you're in the healthcare industry, you want someone who knows what they're doing. You don't want to have to train. Even though some of my best ones I trained from the ground up. Again, lower level positions, growth within the company. You can make a difference as an individual, even if you can't change the entire company. And that's something else that as leaders, you've got to remember. Because the company that you work for may not be the best. And you probably know all the dirt, and you could open every closet and every skeleton is going to fall out. But at the end of the day, you can make a difference with the people that you lead, because they see you as a safe space. They see you as a mentor. They see you as a leader, and they know that you're going to see them as a human who adds value to your team. That's all I've got. So if you want to stop retention and you want to retain employees, do better, leaders. Do better. And employees, do better. And remember, someone is always watching. B. Hawkins signing off. You guys have a great evening. And if you like this content, like, comment, subscribe. If there's some other topics you want to hear, and I'll be bringing you a lot more in the coming days, drop me a comment. I got 20 years of healthcare and sales experience. Happy to answer what I can. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Missy says hi. She's a little cool. Talk to y'all later.